Hello? Yeah, I think it's time. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm Trishna. I am intern at Red Hat with Fedora engineering team. So before I start, this is my first DevConf, and I'm first in Brno and first conference talk. Yeah. So yeah. Thank you. So as the name implies, I'm going to talk about building Docker image and running Docker container for your application on remote atomic host with Ansible. You might be thinking, why Ansible? So here is the answer. Yeah, automate all things. Yeah. So in the course of my job, I generally work with Docker images and Docker containers all the time. So I just thought to find a way, why don't I automate these things with Ansible? So I choose Ansible. Yeah. So the contents of my talk will have Project Atomic, building Docker image and container, Ansible automation, and Cockpit remote manager. So I will give a short introduction on each of the content first, and then I will start the demonstration. Project Atomic. Project Atomic is a lightweight container-based OS which lets you run only containers. So if you're looking for something where you want to run only containers or a cluster of containers for your application, then I think Project Atomic, it's a better place to switch to. And it has minimum packages installed, so you don't have to care about packages installed on OS if you're running containers. Also, it uses RPM OS3 tools, so it never leaves your system, remains halfway upgraded. Either it happens full or it happens not at all. So with a single command, atomic host upgrade, you can upgrade to your OS to the next version, and using atomic host rollback, you can just roll back to your previous version. Yeah. So there is nothing halfway. That's about Project Atomic. And your Docker, I think I don't have to talk anything about Docker in 2017. So, but I'd like to give a short introduction anyway. Docker wraps your application in a container that it needs to run. So it keeps your containers isolated from each other and from underlying infrastructure. And of course, portability is the biggest key feature of Docker. And there are so many things on. Yep, Ansible. So if you're looking for managing remote hosts, automate your daily job and repetitive task, then Ansible is a good tool, really good tool, because I just don't want to repeat my task all day. So I'll probably sleep and use Ansible rather. Yeah. And there is Cockpit. Cockpit is a great tool to manage your remote servers, remote host using web user interface. So what Cockpit does, you can administrate your Linux or GNU servers using web browser. You can start your containers using only the web browser and any systemctl or any services. You can have access to the terminal of your host running host using Cockpit. So it's super useful tool. Okay. Now we can move to the demonstration. Yep. So is it visible? Okay. So here is the root directory of Flask Hello World, and right there is a subdirectories Ansible, I guess, yeah, Ansible is the subdirectory. Under there, we have Ansible configuration file, inventory file, and the playbook. And in the same directory, we have Docker file, and there, after we have the application. It's a simple hello world application of Flask. And this is the hello world Python file, which is rendering to index page on root URL request. And there are, I have used Jinja template for HTML, which is displaying hello world, and some magic of CSS, which I probably copy. Yep. And I have the Docker file. Is it visible, or should I use the terminal? Visible? Okay. So I'm using Fedora as base image, and inside there I'm installing Python Flask and Python Jinja template. Then I'm making a directory app and copying the source to the app. So here is a source directory where I will put my application on the atomic host. So this is the source directory copied to the app directory inside the container. Then I'm changing my directory and running the file with entry point Python. Yep. Now moving to the Ansible configuration. Yeah, I'm SSHing to the atomic host as Fedora, because I'm using Fedora atomic host, and then becoming root user. And inside the inventory file, I have the IP of atomic host, and we have the SSH private key file. So I'm basically doing everything from my Fedora workstation remotely via Ansible. So here is the playbook. I have two variables, source src dir, which has the source path to my application of my workstation, and I have a destination directory where I'm going to put my application on the atomic host. So here is some example where I have done, and here are the place. First, I have created the destination directory, and then I'm copying the Docker file from my source directory to the destination directory of atomic host, and then copying the application from my source directory of my workstation to the destination directory of under the subdirectory source on the atomic host. Yeah. Now I'm running the build for Docker for image. Yeah. So I have used the option -f. So -f you can use to mention where your Docker file is, or you can use -- file instead. And yeah, we're there. I'm running the Docker container, which is going to be on port 5000 on my atomic host. And then starting the Cockpit service with atomic run Cockpit image. Yeah. So with atomic run, we can run Docker. It will start container of Cockpit, the atomic run command. What I have after? Yeah. So after that, you have to make sure you're present in the Ansible directory. Then you can simply run Ansible playbook main.yml that we have created, the playbook, and it is going to do all your tasks. So right after there, after it does all the tasks, you can simply log into your Cockpit and see what is there going on. So Cockpit, you'll be, once the Cockpit starts running using on your atomic host, you'll be able to access the Cockpit from your web browser with the IP of atomic host on port 9090. So the username will be the username of your atomic host, and the password you use. If you don't want to enable password-full SSH access, probably you have to turn it on for once. And once you create the password and username, you can disable the password-full SSH access right after there. Yeah, I have the Cockpit running, so I can show you. Yeah, this is how it looks like. Is it visible, or should I zoom in? Okay. Yeah. So here are the containers. You can see what are the containers running on my host. I hope the internet should work. Yeah. So here is the application that is running, and the Cockpit container itself. Yeah. And here are the play buttons. You can simply play it, and the container will start running from the images. So let's test. So here from tools, there is terminal. So from here, I can directly get access to my terminal of Atomic Host. I'll test the application. Sorry? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's there. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what about my talk is. Here is the playbooks you can find on GitHub in my namespace, and then Fedora Cloud Ansible. And here, there are a few blog posts on this in the Project Atomic blog and Fedora magazine. You can just read it on your free time. That's it about my talk. Do you have questions? I think I finished it pretty early.
When you run the Cockpit,
yeah.
The container of Cockpit should have access to actually the host, right? To actually monitor. You should get privileged container of some sort.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
When you monitor your containers, your Atomic host, I saw you actually running Cockpit also from a container itself.
Yep.
Okay, now, when you actually present this for Ansible, you are firing up just local run, I think, and then shouldn't that be privileged somehow, that container, or how should it have access to your host?
Using Cockpit, so the question I should repeat, yeah. How should the Cockpit have access to your host, right?
Yeah, when you have it in Ansible, I can see it.
Yeah, in Ansible, I have turned my user to root. Yeah. So after it becomes root, it can run atomic run Cockpit. It will start the container, and after the Cockpit container starts, you will probably have access to the web user interface of Cockpit via your web browser from your current host. Yeah, you don't have to manually SSH to your Atomic host at all. Yeah.
You didn't start with local, you started with Atomic run.
Yeah. So Atomic run is kind of replacement of Docker run, because when you do Docker run, you have to probably pass lots of options there. So Atomic run is kind of wrapper of that. Yeah. Any more questions? I don't think so. Okay, thank you.
has a microphone from that. So I was going to grab the microphone from her. I'll let you that's that. Good talk. Good talk.
Thank you.
Do you have, is this the microphone?
Yeah, that's the one for the camera. Okay. Yeah, somebody put the batteries in.
Was it full?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, it's nice because it's 15 minutes or so I can just put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
You guys get all these nice open shoe shoes where they give them okay. You get one. Although my
Yeah.
my suitcase is packed.
Sorry, you were the
Oh,
speaker?
no, he's up there actually. If you need to talk to him, he's the guy. Yeah, I'm just recording it.
necessary that we're just doing automatically. Yeah, it's just that, the EV volunteers, they're streaming all the files. But the video system is this is we don't need a trust either. And so I'm not sure about all of that. For example,
Do they just record all
no,
of
they
it?
just record over it.
And then they'll go back in and put it up?
Yeah, and I'm going to try to get the source for some of those because they don't. You know, there's a lot of talks about so.
How long was it usually take them to do?
They don't remember.
Because there's quite a few calls that is the actual.
Yes.
Да, я тут еще не начался приходить. Мы тут черим сегодня. Need any assistance? Did you? Just JF.